In this video, we explain our paper on image abstraction through overlapping region growth. This paper has been published in Graphics Interface 2020. Image stylization is a process of transforming input photographic images into stylized versions, resembling drawings, paintings, or other artworks. Here you can see an example of a stylized image. In non-photorealistic rendering, an abstraction process reduces details from the image. Researchers in the field of NPR created abstractions by taking different approaches. Some abstractions created by stroke-based methods, which involve repeatedly placing brush strokes with different color, size, and orientation. Or by developing filter-based methods, where usually involve computing a custom arrangement of weights for each pixel. Depending on weighting functions, local structures like edges could be preserved. There's a third group that produces abstractions through region-based methods. These approaches usually use an existing segmentation method to generate the regions. But the resulting images from abstractions often show uniformity in shape and size of the abstraction primitives. Abstractions by filter-based methods may blur edges, and abstractions created by region-based methods often produce compact regions which cannot capture small-scale structures and textures. These issues will reduce the visual interest from the abstractions. Our goal is to create abstractions that look painterly with the ability to present the irregular shapes in the image. In such abstractions, both structures and small details of the image, like textures and thin features, should be preserved. In this talk, we propose a mechanism for abstracting images through highly irregular region shapes that nonetheless conform to the image content. Our approach can be seen as a hybrid of stroke-based and region-based stylization methods. We introduce a region growing algorithm that generates intricate region shapes that conform to local detail. Our method can preserve both textures and structures. Moreover, we perform a preliminary investigation of stylizations that involve manipulation of the region's colors or boundary shapes. In our method, regions are the key elements of the abstraction. To generate regions, we use a growth approach guided by local colors. Our proposed method has three main steps: seed placement, region generation, and rendering. Let's look at each step in more detail. For seed placement, we used image residual to guide us for seed locations. It helps to preserve image details. We obtain our detail layer by subtracting the original image and its blurred one. We separate the detail layer into negative and positive portions. Then we find all connected components in the positive and negative detail layers. The seed position would be at the connected component's median pixel position. We take a graph-based approach for our region growth mechanism. We use an 8 connectivity graph to connect the neighboring pixels. The edge weight to a node P is a color distance to the seed. Our region growth process can be viewed as a single source shortest path problem, where we compute range geodesic distances to a tree of nodes surrounding the seed. We expand the region by recursively adding the neighbors of each node while tracking the total path cost to each node from the seed. Each seed has a unique region ID, and this ID will be assigned to all pixels belonging to the same region. A region grows until it reaches a stopping criterion. Our algorithm locally halts progression if the cost of going in the current direction is considered to be large in the context of the current region. In other words, when the incremental cost along the growth path exceeds the threshold, we halt further growth along that path. We consider the weight of the most recent edges. The threshold T is a per region parameter, which corresponds to the accumulated cost of first edges from the seed. When all growth paths have been halted, the region is considered complete. Here you can see the growth process in progression. And here you can see more examples of regions generated for this image. For rendering, we place regions in order of size. On the bottom, the largest regions cover the background, and the smaller ones come on top, providing detail. Once we have assigned preliminary region IDs to all pixels, we finalize the IDs by performing a connected component analysis of the ID map. We call this process flattening. This process gives us different labels for region fragments that have been separated by other regions. The final result is an oversegmented abstraction of the image. We now turn our attention to stylization based on our oversegmentation. We simplified the region boundaries based on the Raymer-Douglas-Picker algorithm. This method would keep the shape of the structures very close to the original boundary. However, for drastic simplifications, users can decide the level of simplification by adjusting a threshold. We use the same threshold for these examples. We reshape the region boundaries by computing Fourier shape descriptors and then truncating the coefficient sequence. This process, by generating a smooth region boundaries, can produce a high level of abstraction. In the right image, we didn't draw the black contours. We also stylize our abstractions using reduced color palettes. The oversegmentation lets us capture small details. Especially, we can see that in the black and white images. Using a simple thresholding, we have captured details such as the feathers of the owl and thin structures in the port image. We also can pick colors from a target image. We recolor the flattened regions by extracting the colors from an Artigo poster. The main colors are determined using k-means, and the output color for a particular region is the nearest palette color to the region's average color. We compare our regions with the oversegmented regions produced by Slick, Quickshift, and Photoshop's methods. A Slick method intended to create compact and uniform size segments. In the image created by Slick, the vertical boundaries cut across the shadows on the water and the curve on the arc of the bridge, while our regions on the water are oriented parallel to the gradient. As in a Slick method, Quickshift also cut the vertical boundaries across the shadows. Quickshift has more variation in region size, and its segments are not necessarily compact, but it still struggles to capture thin features. Photoshop's regions are quite similar qualitatively to ours. However, it does not capture well the largest structures such as the arc of the bridge. Our method, in compared with existing oversegmentation methods, provides more definition in regions with gradients and small details. Our regions are far more irregular and capable of keeping directional patterns. Our method has shown some limitation when it applied to blurred or smooth images. The lack of detail can lead to more uniform region shapes. For example, consider the smooth surface in the tomatoes image and the blurred background in the right image. However, in the same image, our method works well when there is a significant local color variation. In this work, we presented a region growth mechanism that creates intricate spatial primitives. Our results strike a balance between detail removal and preservation. Further, we generated abstraction through simplifying the region boundaries and recoloring the regions. For the future work, we would like to adjust the initial seed placement. It should be possible to obtain equally complex results with fewer seeds. The other direction would be applying the method to video and computing the regions in 3D rather than 2D. Moreover, we would like to explore more sophisticated methods for adjusting boundaries and for coloring the region interiors. Here are more results from our region-based abstractions. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We would like to thank the anonymous reviewers for constructive feedbacks and Oliver Van Kuyk and other members of the Giggle group at Carleton University for valuable discussions about this work. We also thank NSERC and Carleton University for financial support.